60% of the country wants all of Congress fired, and 60% of the country wants the option of a third-party candidate.
Right.
And,
But they still don't vote third party. Like I always hate
That's
that poll
because they're not allowed in the debates. Because, be honest,
That's
if they're
true.
allowed in the debates, they would pummel the shit out of them.
Yeah,
and not
but
only
in
that,
rea-
but the parties decide whether or not to allow other parties into the debates as well. I mean,
they have a
it's all
ridiculous
controlled by that, by the two parties. They have they pretty much have a, not really sure. I mean, I can't really call it a monopoly, but a duopoly on this whole.
They took it out
on
of
the
the
whole
hands of the
debate
League of
thing.
Women Voters and moved it to the corporations. Yeah.
And their trick is they say, oh, we don't ban third parties. They just have to have 17% of the they have to poll at 17% or higher.
Who sets the rules? They set the rules. I mean, if you can recall, Cenk was talking to Buddy Roemer about this whole thing. He tried running as a Republican, then tried running something else, and of course he, every time that he met one of the smaller benchmarks on, whether or not he could be allowed in the debates, every time he met the benchmark, they moved the bar. Oh, I'm sorry, you have to raise this much money. First of all, you have to get this much polling. Okay, now I'm polling at that much, polling at 2% or whatever percent they. Yeah, and then they come back with, well, how much money can you raise? You got to get this much money in order to be in the debates. Now, we all know, I mean, Buddy Roemer, very strong debater. And there was oh, God, I want to think back to another, in the past, there was a really, really good debater that was able to get into the debate despite the fact that he didn't raise a whole lot of money. And he did really, really well, and I think he eventually won the presidency, but I can't remember who that was. I don't remember. Yeah, it's not with me right now, so I apologize.
But the same thing happened to former Governor Gary Johnson. Now, according to the way our politics works, if you win a state that's higher than like 2-to-1 Democrat and you're a Republican, or vice versa, then all of a sudden you're a super serious candidate. That's why Mitt Romney was always the guy who's going to be, president, because he was the governor of a Democratic state. Gary Johnson won New Mexico twice. The second time bigger than the first time, and the trick that they used is they let him in the first debate, and then they told him that he had to have 2 or 3% of the polls in the next, to keep coming back into the debates. And what they would do is they would leave him off the poll a week before the debate. So CBS would have him at like 4%, and then when Fox was hosting the debate, and then when CBS was holding the debate, Fox would have him at 4% because CBS would take him off the poll right before. So they would do like all these like tricky things to keep candidates that they didn't want out.
Right, and that's amazing.
Remember, these are the polls that left Michele Bachmann on there. So they want certain candidates on the ballot. They didn't want a roamer. They don't want
anybody who won't challenge the establishment. They don't want people who are not bought and paid for already.
They did the same thing to Ron Paul in 2007. They didn't let him in a Fox debate. Look, they don't want a lot of rabble rousers. Like, they don't want to have, like, you already had one guy saying something different. They didn't want Johnson to be the second guy saying something different, and they didn't want Roemer to be the third guy saying something different.
Right. Yeah, that's pretty sad. You know what I mean? That's incredibly sad. And
it's actually hilarious because it's called the debate, but they want to make sure most of the candidates agree.
Right, we got to make sure we have this pre-picked field of people that are going to say essentially the same thing and are all going to be backed up by the establishment.
It's an illusion of choice, and it's a form of theater.
Illusion of choice. That's a really good description of what we've got here. And I think the only way that we're going to change it is we get money out of politics.
And by the way, it's super unrealistic too, because if you remember in 2004, they let Al Sharpton in the Democratic debate. Right? It's the same committee that decides the Democratic and Republican debate. Now I'm not trying to hate on Al Sharpton, but that guy had 0% chance of being president. They let him in a lot of debates, if I remember correctly.
Oh,
I'm gonna quote Jesse Ventura here. Stop electing Democrats and Republicans.
Right.
well,
Ventura's actually a good
if you,
example.
the problem is that they already set up the choice for us beforehand, and that's of course they set it up through the primaries.
Right.
Through the whole primary system.
Right, it
And
wouldn't be so bad if we actually got to choose the Democratic candidate that we wanted to see run for office.
right.
I mean,
But
And
we
the
don't get
two-party
that
system's
choice.
been destroying our American political system for over 60 years. Why can't we try something else?
I'd be open to trying something else.
I
Absolutely.
mean, you
By
got
the way,
Ron Paul.
credit.
What?
I was gonna say give credit to RT for having that third party debate.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember watching that. That was good. That was good to watch.
I love that network.
But anyway, so we'll probably end that segment on this. Um, oh, before we do, I actually want to ask you just the main question. Hey, thanks for watching this video. Please leave a comment below. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button and share with your friends. If you want to see more, go to our channel at youtube.com/TYTNation. And if you really want to support the show, support this channel, go to our fundraising campaign at www.patreon.com/TYTNation. The website is in the description below. Thank you guys, and keep watching.